Hello everybody and welcome back to Let's Play ChäoS Head. Wait, I can get my timer started. As autumn deepened, air gradually grew colder and colder. It's hard to believe that I'd gotten by with short sleeves only a little while ago. The sky was a little dull somehow, as though its colors were fading, but in exchange the fall leaves at the park and so forth were brilliant. Maybe the trees were stealing away the sky's vibrancy. I stuck my toothbrush in my mouth as I gazed up at the subdued sky. One of the nice things about the base where I lived was that I could freely use the open space of the roof without needing to worry about catching anyone's eye. It was inconvenient when it rained because the sink was located outside the container housing, but on days with the good weather, I would come outside and brush my teeth like this. Rubbing my sleepy eyes as I moved the toothbrush, I thought back over what had happened yesterday. Rimi had stayed in my room with me until late at night. She'd held my hand for almost an hour, the full time it took me to calm down. That said, nothing else happened between us before she went home. We were two people of the opposite sex and the same age, and we'd been in the same small room for hours, all by ourselves. But there hadn't been a single bit of innuendo in our conversations. If I had the ability to talk about such things, I'd already be living a full-fledged life. No, more than that, the part of me with the ulterior motives made me want to throw up. Rimi was pure-hearted in trying to help me as a friend, but she had already done a great deal to save me by simply telling me, "I'll be there for you." There was a huge difference between having and not having a source of moral support. Despite the impact of learning about Dr. Takashina's murder and the brainless incident, I had managed to become much more mentally stable now than a day or so ago. Or a day or so earlier, rather. Come to think of it, what was the truth about that arrow Rimi? She'd seemed much too real for a delusion. It remained incredibly hot no matter how much I reflected back on it. I hadn't exactly surveyed every inch of her, but I'd certainly spied things like the wrinkles in her panties. As a self-appointed pantymeister, only when it comes to figures, I thought those wrinkles were considerably realistic. It wasn't the kind of thing you could come up with in a daydream. No. Hey, that crap didn't matter either way. The power to project delusions into reality. Did something like that truly exist? Was Shogun targeting me because I possessed it? If I did have such a power, one of my childhood memories came back to life. The day I hadn't been able to go on the field trip, the day I hadn't met with an the day I alone hadn't met with an accident. The bus rolled over, my classmates had gotten hurt. Mr. Saito, my teacher, died. Those images had appeared vividly inside my head. I'd seen them clearly. Were they just a form of precognition? What if it wasn't precognition? If it was one of my delusions? If that delusion had been projected into reality? My body threatened to start quaking, and I wrapped my arms around myself to suppress it. A murderer. Rimi was there. Cheerful, despite how early it was, she gave me a huge smile. When I saw her smile, my shaking stopped. It was strange. I was supposed to have a hard time with 3D girls, but for some reason, I could relax if I were together with Rimi. Ah, right. According to my minimum attendance shift chart, I'd have to go to school today as well. When I mentioned that to Rimi yesterday... Right. Thanks to Shogun, I was now afraid to so much as walk around outside by myself. Seeing me like that, Rimi had told me, "I'll be there for you." She was sticking to her promise. And all the "I'll be there for you" talk is just reminded me of the opening of Friends. I don't know why you think your appearance is somehow contrary to you being the devoted type. Is it the pink hair? Well, you know, it's anime. It could very well be natural. Remy said, winking impishly. What eroge is this from? Having a female classmate come to your house to get you, it was a situation you'd almost never experience in real life. Although the ultimate best pattern would be if she barged into your room and forcibly shook you awake. Remy, standing beside me as I had that kind of idiotic daydream, abruptly tipped her head back to look at the sky. Her eyes grew distant again.
冬の空がどうしてだと思う?
Okay. Jumping right into the deep conversation, eh? If there had been 7 colors in sunlight, the familiar colors of the rainbow. In order for those 7 colors to reach human eyes, they had to pass through the Earth's atmosphere. As they do so, a phenomenon known as diffusion takes place. To put it simply, light slants off in random directions when it collides with atmospheric particles. Slanting off in random directions means that it ends up going here and there all over the place. This makes it easier to reach human sight. Out of all the colors, purple and blue scatter most easily. That's why the sky is blue. I'm smart. But Remy's answer was utterly separate from scientific proof and its absence of romance.
寒くてみんなが下を向いちゃうから。
Yes, Remy is trying to engage in philosophical debate as to why the sky appears faded, presumably particularly in fall and winter.
青を望む人の数が減っちゃうの。
I had the feeling that I'd heard her say something similar before. When was it again?
だから寒くても上を向いて歩こう。
I hastily changed outfits and left the Karini building with Remy. Going to school together. Huh. No matter how I looked at it, this was the essence of being IRL. Shogun and Yuo were scary and obnoxious and the die, no really go die type, but it was thanks to them that I was able to undergo this sort of real-life experience. Maybe I should be a tiny bit grateful to them. I tried to compel myself, but Dr. Takashina's face revived at the back of my mind, and my crazy mood soon drained away. It might be my fault that he'd been killed. The Shogun had murdered the doctor with a connection to me, either as a sign to me or a form of provocation. Fear and insecurity overwhelmed me. I gradually began to lag behind Remy's walking pace. I glanced at the back of Remy's head from behind her and a little off to the side. What kind of expression was she making? She was humming. This was a song from the Phantasm CD I'd loaned her yesterday. Her footsteps seemed light. We weren't even talking, so why did she appear to be having so much fun? As I watched her, my anxiety decreased a little. But honestly, I wondered why Remy was this kind to me. Could the reason for it be... Could the reason for it be found in my time spent with her, the time of which I had only blank memories? When we reached school, I sent Remy on ahead and stopped by the bathroom. This was one aspect of my coping strategy. I felt bad since Remy had gone as far as to pick me up, but arriving at school with a girl would be much too conspicuous, especially if the class juvies spotted me. They might use it as an excuse to pick a fight. That was why I went to the bathroom and bought some time, so it would look like I'd come to school on my own. On a side note, I failed in this. I left the bathroom in every appearance of innocence and, facing downward, walked along the edge of the hall to my classroom. Midway through, I saw Ayase walking toward me from afar. When our eyes met, she twisted her lips into a thin smile. Ayase was a celebrity. I'd figured I'd hold back on talking to her in school since it would make me stand out, but with her standing there as though to block my way, I had no choice but to follow her lead.
Takumi, あれから警察はどう?
Can we not talk about the police coming after us during school? You know, do it after, away from the school building, maybe in a park, or just, you know, anywhere that's not here. On the verge of shrieking, I clamped a hand over my mouth. Why are you bringing up such a risky topic with all these people around? I took a flustered look at our surroundings. The situation was pretty bad. As expected, ISA was the target of everyone's attention. Not only was her coming to school rare in and of itself, but she was also the lead vocalist of Phantasm, and, furthermore, an androgynous beauty. Girls and guys alike were deeply interested in her. Normally, it'd be inconceivable for her to talk to an otaku freak like me. The onlookers' gazes stung. I wanted to flee.
剣を探して。
What do you think we're doing?
君はそうしなくちゃいけないのよ。
It'd be a little fishy if we don't show up, so we still have to show up every so often. But, you know, we are looking for our sword. She said the same thing every single time we met. ISA might have been on my side, but I got pretty sick of her when she repeated herself like she was the village idiot. I wanted to get my hands on it more than anyone, but I didn't know how.
ヒントが欲しい。
She's not the village idiot. She's just that one NPC who only has like 3 lines that are all more or less the exact same thing. And every time you talk to them, you hope that they're going to say something different. Something that might actually be helpful for you. But they don't. They just repeat one of those same 3 lines, depending upon where you are in the story.
君はどうやってあれを手に入れた？
いつの間にかそこにあった。
Well, thank you. That's not very helpful. This again. Was she avoiding giving me an answer after all?
気づかなかったわ、最初は。でも、ちょっとだけ見方を変えたら、わかった。
Ah, so you're saying it's all a matter of perspective.
もしかしたら、匠にももう見えているのかも。
If we could already see ours, I think we would have it.
見ていないだけで。
Oh, okay, yep, getting into philosophical shit. I had no idea what she meant. Don't worry, neither do I. Talking with ISA always wore me out. Spare me the Zen cones, would you?
剣はちゃんと探してるよ。僕だって絶対手に入れたいから。
Having said that much, I let out a sigh and slipped past her, heading for my classroom as the gazes stabbing at me from all sides grew intolerable. There, I became even more depressed. Misumi spearheaded a mixed-sex group of kids, all staring at me dazedly. Damn it, they'd spotted me talking to ISA. Shit, who knew what they'd say to me? I'd be fine if they shunned me, but when I went cold when I thought about them quarreling with me like a playground gang. I lowered my eyes, making myself as small as possible, and went toward my seat. Please, I'll do anything, so leave me alone.
Oi, oi, oi!
And we're not going to be left alone, because of course not. My prayer didn't go through.
タク、てめえいつの間に？今、岸本と話してたよな。
She's the one who came up to us. Very different things. All I could do was fall silent. I couldn't lift my face to him.
岸本が誰かとまともに会話してるとこ、初めて見たぜ。一体どんな手使ったんだよ。
I'm begging you, please don't talk so loudly that it reverberates through the whole classroom. Please let me be. I've got no intention of laying a finger on ISA. I know I wouldn't be worthy of doing so in the first place. That's why I'm asking you, please don't make such a big deal out of it.
なあ、タク、教えろって。
大地
Rimi dove between
落
us.
ち着け。タクが困ってるでしょ。
悪い悪い。
Misumi lowered his voice and patted me lightly on the back. Head still hanging, I sighed quietly. Rimi had saved me yet again.
で、実際のところどうやったんだ？
Can we strangle him? The very model of a man driven by his lower half.
もう、大臣ってほんと節操ないよね。そのうち彼女さんに刺されるんじゃない？
心配すんなって。俺こう見えても各種ケアは欠かさねえから。
何それ？
On the off chance anybody viewing this doesn't know what TLC is, it's tender loving care.
なたく、教えろよ。岸本とはどんな感じなんだ？
Misumi rubbed my shoulders as he persisted in asking me. Left without much of a choice, I meekly raised my head. About half the people from before were taking quick glances at me as they whispered to each other. Shit, they were still watching me. Don't look at me. The nape of my neck prickled. It'd be the end of me if I caught a delinquent's fancy. Bullying hell would be the one thing awaiting me. What to do? Should I run? Skip out in classes and hurry on home? But I couldn't go back alone. My legs froze when I thought about the chances of running into Shogun or Yua. Should I have Rimi come along with me? She'd said before that she was the devoted type, and if those words hadn't been a lie, surely she would skip classes with me. In any case, I wanted to get out of this classroom as soon as possible. Bombastic noise came from the direction of the entrance. Everyone looked over there to see what was happening. The transfer student. Teary-eyed, she rubbed her forehead while bowing to everyone around her, silent as always. The suddenness of what had happened made the classroom fall silent. What on earth had...
今の見たか？
Yeah, I think everybody saw that.
見た。一人で勝手に扉に激突してたね。
Oh, is that what happened? Okay. I thought she had, like, slammed the door open or something. Because she, like, heard the conversations outside and, you know, she...
やっぱ梢ちゃんは可愛いな。
accidentally pressed, on the, scroll down on the mouse wheel on my, mouse. As I was saying, my visual impression was that she slammed the door open because she heard the conversation outside. She seems to think she has some sort of connection to us and potentially realized that we were kind of being annoyed with what was going on, and so she decided, I need to find a way to get these people to shut up and leave them alone. I know what I'll do. I'll slam the door open, everyone will freak out. And that'll be the end of it. But no, apparently she smacked into the door. As if she's blind. And didn't realize the door was there.
No.
What a picture-perfect real-life klutz. Oh my god. It's like fucking rat sounds.
また泣いた。大丈夫かな？すごい音してたけど。
After murmuring worriedly, Rimi went up to the transfer student faster than anyone else. She was quite the meddler, but maybe I should call it her kindness.
うお、リミに先越された。待て待て。梢ちゃんを解放するのは俺だ。
Yes, he's leaving. Declaring loudly that she didn't have to do anything, Misumi belatedly ran over to the transfer student. Her running into an accident had provided me with a fortunate side effect. The people who had been staring coldly at me before had all shifted their attention to her. Of course, it's also possible that the running into the door was intentional. For more or less the same reason why I thought potentially it was the door being slammed open. Good job, I needed to tell her. Only, my ears suddenly picked up on what a group of girls near my desk were saying.
うざ。何あれ。 狙ってやってんじゃん。
Barely audible murmurs. Oh, okay. For some reason I
視界にはデッドスポットと呼ばれる通常は使用されることのないいくつかの神経チャネルが存在することをご存知ですか？
I was expecting to hear like the school bell ringing to basically be like a everybody get to your classrooms. You know, like a warning bell type thing. But whatever. Evidently that was not the case.
それが第二世代と何か関係があるのかね？
そういうことになります。簡単な実験をしてみましょう。これをご覧ください。
子供騙しを聞いている暇はないぞ。
重要なことですよ。この図には左側にドット、右側にリングがあります。
I would say circle rather than ring, but okay.
では、左目を手で覆って見えないようにしてください。
Let's see. Now please cover your left eye with your hand so you can no longer see from it. Well, you know, let's play along, see what they're trying to show us.
そのまま右目だけで図の左側にあるドットを見つめてください。いかがですか？ドットを見つめる目の端の方にリングも存在しますか？
いくらドットだけを見つめていても、隣にあるリングがついでに見えているのは当然だと思うがな。
では先生、ドットだけを見つめたままモニターに顔を近づけていってみてください。
ほう、これは。
Yeah, I can't really get particularly close to my monitor, so... Oh well.
興味深いね。
I don't know what I'm supposed to be seeing.
右側のリングが消えた。そうですね。
Well, yes. Getting your head close to a monitor, particularly if it's a big enough monitor, that the two images, or the two objects, shapes, whatever you want to call them, are spaced far enough apart. When you get close, while keeping your attention on one or the other, the one you're not paying attention to will disappear. No shit, Sherlock. That's just the way things work.
これは視界が狭まったからではありません。その証拠に、さらにモニターに近づくことで、リングはまた視界に現れます。
I don't know, that sounds like a load of bull to me.
これは一体どんなトリックだ？
But again, I can't really test it because, well, partly my microphone blocks my ability to get close to my gaming monitor, and then the second monitor I have with OBS on it doesn't really work particularly well either for doing this.
いいえ、トリックの類ではありません。普段は使用されていないですが、人間が元から持っている目の機能の一つですよ。
But, you know, y'all down, feel free to go ahead, leave a comment down below and let me know if you experienced what they were talking about, where getting closer to your monitor while paying attention to the dot, when you got close enough, eventually the ring reappears. Let me know if it happened for you, because like I said, I can't really test it all that well.
これはデッドスポットと呼ばれ、ノアによって人間の視界の中に無から有を作り出す際に使用するチャネルなのです。
Okay, so we had gone through one of those sort of transitions. We've got about 5 minutes left on the timer, and we've just moved on to a brand new scene, but we didn't go through one of those transitions. I think I'm gonna go and end the part here. A little early, I know, but that's just the way that works better because I don't know how long this scene will be. Probably a decent length because this is back to basically our perspective. And I don't want to potentially have to do a cliffhanger ending halfway through this scene. I'm not saying that because like I know what happens in this scene. It was years ago that I played this. I vaguely remember bits and pieces of it, but nothing too detailed. In fact, we might have even actually passed or be very close to passing where I left off on my original series that ended up getting axed as a result of technical difficulties or whatever the case was. I'm pretty sure it was technical difficulties because I think I was having issues with app locale not working for whatever reason. But yeah, so that'll be it for this part. Like I said, feel free to leave a comment down below if you were able to observe what they were just talking about in that last scene with the ring disappearing and then reappearing, depending on how close you were to the monitor. Particularly when you got close, eventually it disappeared. You got closer, it reappeared. Let me know, feel free, in the comments if you observed that effect. Like I said, I can't really test it right now, at least not while recording. Quick reminder, I do have a Patreon and a Discord. You can find links to those down below in the description. I do highly recommend that you join the Discord. That is my go-to place for posting about the channel. I also have it set up to where a bot will post whenever I post a new video on YouTube. So if for whatever reason YouTube doesn't actually tell you that I have posted a new video, which, you know, happens. YouTube doesn't always do the best job of notifying subscribers that videos have been released. That's another way to know if a video has been posted, but it's also, like I said, my go-to place for posting if I have any interruptions to my channel, such as recording or streaming or whatever the case may be. As for the Patreon, if you find yourself enjoying this series or any of my other series, that is probably the easiest and best way to support the channel. At the very least, it's the easiest, not necessarily the best. There are, in many ways, actually somewhat better ways to support the channel if you feel so inclined to go other routes, but those other routes don't necessarily get you anything. You know, those don't get you the early access as being a patron does. But yeah, so that'll be it for this part. I will see you all next time. Until then, goodbye and farewell.